You ever notice something strange about the people who already have money? They never seem to be budgeting. Not like the rest of us. No spreadsheets open at the kitchen table. No color-coded envelopes. No Sunday night, what can we afford this week? Meetings. It's almost like the rich are playing a completely different game. One without the rules we've been taught to follow. And here's the wild part. They are. Now, before we go further, let me tell you something that might sting a little, but it could also change your life. The reason budgeting hasn't made you rich is because budgeting was never meant to make you rich. It was designed to help you survive. That's the system. And the people who built the system, they don't follow it. But what if you could? What if you could switch lanes, flip the script, and start operating the way the wealthy do? Even if you're starting from zero. Stay with me, because by the time this ends, you'll see money differently. You'll think differently. You'll move differently. And your bank account, that'll follow. So let me ask you something personal. Have you ever sat down with your budget, cut out everything non-essential, tracked every expense, skipped dinners out, skipped birthdays, skipped joy, and still felt stuck? Still paycheck to paycheck. Still behind. Still tired? That's because budgeting the way most of us were taught is like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. It stops the bleeding, but doesn't fix the root cause. It's reactive, defensive, always trying to control damage, never building a future. Now compare that to how the rich operate. They don't obsess over how much they're spending. They obsess over how much they're earning. They don't budget, they build systems. They don't track pennies, they design cash flow machines. Sounds slick, right? But it's real. Let me show you how they do it. See, most people live in the budget loop. Earn, spend, panic, budget, repeat. And what does that budget do? It makes you feel responsible, like you're finally getting your act together. But it doesn't multiply your money. It doesn't create leverage. It doesn't give you breathing room. It just gives you control over a box that keeps getting smaller. Meanwhile, the wealthy live in the growth loop. They ask, how can I turn $1 into $2? And then $2 into $10? They automate their financial life so they can focus on scaling income, not micromanaging expenses. And here's something they'll never teach you in school. Wealth isn't built by saving. It's built by owning. Owning systems. Owning assets. Owning your time. Want to know the shift? The rich treat money like a soldier. Send it out, make it fight, and come back with friends. But the average person treats money like a fragile pet. Protect it, cage it, don't let it wander too far. One builds wealth, the other builds anxiety. Here's what most people miss. The budget mindset is rooted in fear. Fear of running out, fear of not having enough, fear of failure. The wealthy mindset is built on intention. Intentional spending, intentional investing, intentional living. Every dollar has a job. Every hour has a purpose. And that brings me to your first real assignment. Track your energy, not just your money. Where does your time go? Who's taking your attention? What are you building? Because the rich, they don't just budget dollars. They budget attention, and they spend it where it pays them back. What if I told you the most valuable currency in your life isn't money? It's attention, not your paycheck, not your savings, not your credit score. It's where your mind goes when it's quiet, where your focus lands when no one's watching, what you think about when you think about your future. Because here's the truth no one talks about in personal finance. Most people don't have a money problem. They have an attention problem. And if you don't learn how to budget your attention, your money will always be chasing your distractions. Think about this for a second. You can have a perfect budget, a color-coded spreadsheet, envelopes, expense trackers, 5 budgeting apps on your phone. But if your attention is scattered, your life will be too. You'll be busy but broke, overwhelmed but underpaid, tired but somehow still behind. Sound familiar? That's because you've been budgeting your dollars, but spending your attention on debt, doubt, drama, doom scrolling, and distractions. You've been so focused on cutting out coffee that you forgot to cut out what's draining your energy. Let me tell you a story. A client once told me, I don't know where my money goes every month. She made decent income, US-based tech job, no kids, paid off her car, but somehow she was always broke by the 20th. So I asked her one question. Where does your attention go from 6 p.m. to midnight? She paused, then said, TikTok, Netflix, emails, other people's problems. I said, that's where your money's going. Because attention is fuel. Wherever it flows, energy grows. And energy is expensive. Let me give it to you straight. If you spend 4 hours a day consuming noise, trends, gossip, drama, comparing yourself to strangers on the internet, and scrolling through lives you'll never live, you are investing in your own distraction. Now flip it. What if you spent just 90 minutes a day building you? Studying investing, learning a monetizable skill, building a brand, pitching your offer, designing a future your 9 to 5 could never buy. That shift, budgeting your attention, is how normal people build extraordinary wealth. Not luck, not inheritance, not magic. Focus, laser sharp, intentional, unapologetic attention. Because the real ROI isn't just in money, it's in what you choose to pay attention to. That's why today, I want to give you a simple assignment. It's called the attention audit. For the next 48 hours, write down exactly where your attention goes. Who gets it? What triggers it? How often do you switch tabs, check your phone, let your brain drift? Be brutally honest. Track your screen time. Notice your patterns. Because when you finally see where your attention is leaking, you can begin to plug the holes. And from there, you can choose differently. You can spend your attention like the wealthy spend their money, on growth, on ownership, on freedom. You can stop living in reaction mode, where every notification dictates your mood, and start living by design, where focus funds your future. That's what this is about. Not hustle culture, not toxic productivity, just truth. You cannot win with money if you're losing with attention. You want to change your life? Start with your eyes. Start with what you're watching. Start with what you're clicking. Start with what you're allowing into your mental space every single day. Because the most expensive thing you own isn't your house or your car, it's your mind. And if you don't budget it, someone else will spend it for you. So the next time you feel behind financially, don't just check your bank account. Check your focus. Your future is hidden in your attention. Guard it, grow it, direct it, like your life depends on it. Because it does. Now, listen closely, because this might be the most important thing I say today. The difference between being broke and being rich isn't discipline. It's design. Let me say that again. Wealth isn't about how hard you work. It's about what system you're plugged into. And most of us, we're stuck in a system that punishes savers, taxes workers, and rewards owners. So if you want to escape the cycle, you need to stop asking, how do I budget better? And start asking, how do I own better? Own income streams. Own skills that can't be replaced. Own assets that pay you while you sleep. Let me give you a practical tool, something the wealthy use all the time: reverse budgeting. Here's how it works. Instead of starting with your expenses and cutting down, start with your goals and build up. Ask, how much do I need to invest each month to hit $1 million in 20 years? Then work backwards. Suddenly your Starbucks run doesn't matter, because now your budget is focused on becoming, not just surviving. And if that sounds impossible, if you're thinking, that's not for people like me, I want you to hear this. You don't need 6 figures to start thinking like a millionaire. You need one decision. One decision to stop living small. One decision to stop budgeting for survival and start designing for freedom. I'm not saying don't be responsible. I'm saying redefine responsibility. Responsible isn't clipping coupons while your future burns. It's lighting a path that takes you and your family somewhere new. Let me ask you one more thing, and really think about this. When you look at your current budget, does it reflect your vision or just your limitations? Because the rich, their money flows toward their vision. They put their values first and build the numbers around that. You could do this too. You don't need permission. You don't need to wait until next year, or when you get a raise, or when things feel stable. You just need to step out of the loop. So here's what I want you to do today. Write down your ideal lifestyle. Not just the income, the life. List your top 3 priorities. Things you'd fight to protect. Automate investments toward those goals, even if it's just $10 a week. Eliminate one expense that doesn't serve your future, not to save money, but to create space. Learn one income skill. Writing, selling, coding, investing. Just pick one and go deep. Because the truth is, budgeting isn't broken. It just wasn't built for freedom. It was built for maintenance. But you were built to move. And I want you to move like someone who's already rich. Not in your bank account, in your mind, in your posture, in the way you plan. Because when you do that, the money follows. So no, the rich don't use budgets the way you think. They build blueprints. They fund visions. They invest in multipliers. And now so can you. You've been budgeting like you're broke. It's time to start building like you're free. If that lit a fire in you, if even a part of you just whispered, I needed this, then make it count. Hit the like button so the algorithm knows more people need to hear this truth. Drop a comment below. Tell me what belief you're unlearning right now. And don't just watch videos that inspire you. Subscribe, because I'm building a library of tools, strategies, and mind shifts that are rewriting financial futures across the US and beyond. Your freedom starts with your focus. Let's build a different future, starting today.